with Frank here. He's the Airsoft GI head technician, and he's a Airsoft gunsmith. And today he's going to upgrade a Lancer Tactical MK18 Airsoft gun. Right.
Thank you, Hong Kong Haley.
So Frank, what's your initial impression of this gun?
Well, let's see. Well, it's light. Looks to be full polymer plastic construction. Looks to have a metal gearbox, so that's obviously nice. You know, the gun's light. This is advertised to be the sport line model. I believe these sell for about $95. So this is your basic entry level airsoft gun. So it's $95. Quality is, you know, it's pretty good. But when you compare them to more expensive models, obviously, you know, the metal body and stuff like that isn't going to be there. But the most important thing that we're here to look at today is, you know, how well are the internals built, how compatible are they to upgrades, and, you know, how long is this gun going to last. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Okay, now for all of you would-be technicians out there, or airsmiths, looks like this particular airsoft gun is put together similar to the old Hurricane metal receivers, which means you can't breach them from the top, similar to like the KWAs, and they do not separate like the classic armies. You basically need to disassemble the lower receiver around the gearbox and then slide it off. Okay, so basically this is what I was talking about. You got to disassemble the lower receiver around the gearbox so you can actually slide the gearbox out the back end. Now the reason that you have to do that is it actually comes with a one-piece hop-up unit, okay, which is usually not the case when you purchase any kind of plastic airsoft gun. So that, I mean, that's one nice thing. If you want to upgrade the hop-up unit, I actually recommend the Systema hop-up units. They're the most consistent on the market that I've found. Alright, let's take a look at the metal gearbox. These might actually look like bushings, but don't be fooled. This is a different type bearing system. So it's got an outer and inner race with bearings along the side. So these are bearings. Personally, I think that a different type of bearing would probably be better. What happens with these is, you know, over time they actually wear out a lot faster. So that's one of the musts that I would actually put into this airsoft gun, would be bushings or even better bearings. But personally, I like to use bushings. Okay, now that we're in the gearbox, we can actually inspect all the gearbox internals. So this is actually pretty nice. You actually have a ball bearing spring guide. You know, normally you'd have to actually pay a lot more in an airsoft gun. Companies, more expensive companies that do come with ball bearing spring guides would be Classic Army Pro Line, KWA, what else? G&G's, Professional Series, AEGs. They all come with ball bearing spring guides. So this is actually a nice feature that this very inexpensive airsoft gun has. The gear sets are pretty much on par with any other Chinese product. You got steel gears. These particular gear sets, they're actually pretty strong. They can actually put up with a lot of abuse. A lot of the Chinese guns are fairly crudely made, so they're kind of just slapped together. So there's always improvements to be found with any kind of product, Chinese product. But as far as I can see, these gears are pretty much on par with a lot of the more expensive Chinese guns. So, you know, again, internal wise, it's going to be responsible for most of the function in the airsoft gun, and it's nice to know that a $95 airsoft gun actually has fairly strong internals. Alright, and then basically your standard air seal nozzle, cylinder head, and a brass cylinder. So I'm basically looking at the internals of this particular airsoft gun. For $95, you actually can't beat it. Yes, the entire exterior is made out of plastic. But again, it's $95. You know, this is a great way for you to actually get into the airsoft hobby. You'll have something that will perform on par with a lot of the more expensive Chinese guns. However, you're actually doing it at a fraction of the cost. Internal wise, you're basically running the same internals as, you know, your JGs and your D-boys. Decent internals, not the greatest in the world. They can always use improvement, but again, we're talking about, you know, your entry-level airsoft guns. All right, so now let's basically, I'm gonna kind of figure out what we're gonna do to the airsoft gun. Looking at this, it's a CQB model. Let's keep the FPS in and around 350. The nice thing about our upgrade packages is this would actually be a CQB basic upgrade package, which will give you a 100 spring that should get you about 330 to 350 FPS. But it also gives you a support part. And we're talking about the support part. We're saying, hey, whatever part is most needed as a support part in your airsoft gun. So in this particular model, I would actually say decent spring guide, decent piston head, decent piston. What I'm worried about are the bearings in this. Like I said, over time these bearings are going to develop a lot of slop. They're going to fall apart, and guess what? When your bearing falls apart, you're going to grenade your gears, and it might actually take out your piston as well. So in my opinion, this is actually the weakest link. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the 100 spring, and we're going to put some bushings in here just to make it a lot more durable. So once we come back with the parts, we're going to start on the upgrade. Okay, so we just finished the upgrade on this Lancer Tactical CQB and put a 100 spring in it, and our target goal was to be between 330 and 350, and we actually reached a pretty consistent 349. So looks like it takes two upgrades. And poking around inside the gearbox, I did notice that this is a standard version 2, so any part made for a version 2 gearbox should fit. The reason why I say should, because anytime you're installing parts into an airsoft gun, there might be some slight modifications and stuff that you might need to do. So outside of that, it's basically, you know, it's an awesome entry-level airsoft gun. It can take upgrades, which means it can be repaired, and we're actually running this model. Check the chamber here. We're actually running this model with an 11.1 LiPo battery. It's not recommended, but so far so good. It's able to handle it, and it's actually got a decent rate of fire. So for $95, you can't beat it.
I'm Sergeant Scott Graham from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Airsoft guns can be mistaken for real firearms. Always carry them in the appropriate container and never take them out in public.